Hey guys, it's G and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. I thought I would do a Q&A. I'm actually going to focus this Q&A on disability. I've just never really wanted to talk about it just because I don't want people to see me for that. I want people to see me for me and not go, oh, she's just going to talk about disability because that's what she has. In my head, there is quite a negative connotation around the word disability. I don't know. I don't vibe with it. Do a Q&A and dedicate it all about the questions that you guys want to know about the side that you don't see about my life. I guess people are curious, which to me, this stuff is boring, but I guess to some people this is interesting and educational. Also, can we just excuse the fact that I've got a safety pin to keep the clothes together? I physically can't do the button because then I won't be able to move my shoulders, but I also want it off my shoulders. So yeah, ignore this situation down here. Anyway, let's actually get on into this vid. If you are new here, then I'm G and I would absolutely love it if you could join the family. Click the subscribe button, follow me over on my Instagram, all of my questions on my laptop, and there's quite a few. And if you want me to do a part 2 to this, then please let me know. Put your questions down below because I definitely want to do more about this and just be more open. So my first question that I'm going to start off with, other than pain, what else is part of your condition? Now, I really like this question because it was something that I feel like obviously a lot of people know me for my chronic pain, which is great because that, I will admit, that is like the ship of my life. Like, it's what, my pain is the captain, if you get what I mean. Like, that's what drives my life. That's like the top of the top. Whatever else is like kind of underneath, because my pain is more, you know, it's a big cloud, and it can be a big cloud. When I was younger, you know, I was in and out of hospital for years and years and years. I missed out on a lot of school, and this was nothing to do with pain. Back in these years, I actually had no pain. How mad is that? Like, my pain didn't even exist back then. The main worry about my life back a few years ago, I mean, a long time ago now, actually more of the health side of it. So I was actually born with a condition where my body doesn't absorb nutrients. I actually didn't eat anything as a baby. I was really ill as a baby, and even growing up I was losing a lot of weight. I was actually seriously ill for years and years, and I actually had, I don't know if you guys noticed, but on me I have quite I'm not actually flashing. I don't know if you guys ever notice on my videos, but I have a lot of scars on top of my boob, I guess, and all on my neck, around the sides here. I have quite a lot of scars, and this was all because for years, for about 10 years, even more, I was actually fed intravenously, which means, you guys know what a cannula is? It's similar to that. This was my lifeline. I actually had a tube fitted into me. It was always here because these are the areas these are the veins that go into your heart. So I had a tube that went straight into my heart, and that is what kept me alive. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be alive today. And trust me when I say I didn't have one, I had so many. Over the years, I had to have them taken out and get a new one fitted, and they were like obviously major operations, and they were the normal for me back years ago. Like, that was so normal for me to go through all that, but looking back, that was like such a scary time. But for me, I just had no clue. These tubes was what allowed me to, you know, be fed and get all of the nutrients from food. But instead, it was in liquid form. So my mum actually kind of trained as a nurse. And at home, I used to be at home on a drip all night, and every single night I'd be put on this drip, which is actually called TPN, and it was just a bag full of goodness that kept me alive. And if I ever had a night off, I would go so ill. I would always complain of a bumpy heart, which is, I can't even describe it. It felt like a heart attack. It is something I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy. It's so painful. Like, I've never heard, like, I can't even describe it. Before the drip, I was losing a lot of weight. Like, I was literally skin and bone. And the drip allowed me to slightly gain weight and kind of keep that up. But whenever I kind of took off that, I would lose weight massively. And it was all about just trying to keep me at a steady weight without losing it, because otherwise there was no other way of me getting food, which I think is mad. TPN was what basically kept me alive. When you actually have this line inside of you, this thing can get infections, and I had infections after infections, and these infections can kill you. So I was in hospital all the time. I don't even remember really having a lot of childhood other than hospitals, which I'm not complaining because I had the best time in hospital. Like, I loved all of the nurses, but most of my life was in hospital. It was very touch and go. I can't even imagine how much my mum and dad had to go through, and I had no clue. I was just like, yeah. As well as that, I actually was also fed through another tube in my stomach. So if you ever notice on my underwear pictures, you'll know that I have a scar just under my rib, just where my skin goes in a bit. And that was basically where I was fed through my stomach, through a tube that rubbed my skin red raw. My mum had to change it and literally take it out of my stomach and replace it at home. That is part of my condition that I've never really spoke about, and there's actually a lot about my condition that doctors are so confused about. And yeah, there was a lot of times where doctors were like, what the hell, like, that doesn't make sense. So much of it really doesn't make sense, and I do blow a lot of doctors' minds. So when I was younger, I actually had my tonsils removed, and then ever since that, I ended up kind of like eating for the first time in my life, absorbing it and not losing as much weight. Eventually, after years and years, I had my central line removed, which was huge. And at this time, I was so lucky that I went through that, because I was actually on. Doctors still don't quite understand how the hell it happened, or they have literally no answers to why all of this happened and how I got better all of a sudden. It was just my own body kind of getting the strength back and kind of kicking back. Then when I was in high school, I actually had my Mickey button removed, which was the tube that went into my stomach. No one knew about this at high school because I'm not going to go and share it. I had that removed when I was in year 8, I think. I had a good few years without all of like the medical stuff. Pain was something that didn't even come into my life until I was like 15 years old, 16. But before that, like, I was literally happy, healthy, living my few years of life without anything. I used to go horse riding for years. I used to horse ride, I used to dance, I used to walk in high school, like run around. I had a wheelchair, but yeah, it's my condition has been very complex, and how I got better, we don't have answers. It was a freaking miracle. Someone said, would you ever consider getting an assistance dog? This was actually a really funny question, because a few years ago, my mum used to speak to me about assistance dogs, saying like, you know, these dogs can help you pick stuff up, you can go out with them, you can actually go to the shop with them and they'll help you. Oh my god, the love I have for dogs is next level. Back years ago, I was like, oh my god, I want an assistance dog. And something, obviously, I've got Rue, a French bulldog, who isn't an assistance dog. She's just a dog that I've always wanted, and I would never want her, I'd never train her to be like that, because I want her to live the best, beautiful doggy lifestyle that she can live. Yeah, it is something I did consider, and it is something that I still kind of think about a little bit. I would love to just to, you know, nip the house. I would actually like to just go out and nip to the shops and, you know, go out for a walk on my own instead of having people always with me. But I will admit, I would love to have something like that where I could just go out on my own and, you know, go places. I can't on my own, you know, I'm vulnerable, anything can happen. I do get quite a lot of attention as well, and I think that's what scared me now. Like, when I've been in city centres, I do get quite a bit of attraction from like older men and even like guys that it's not in an awful way, but it can look a bit malicious. I've had a lot of unwanted attention, especially now that I'm older and I look older. Like, you know, when I was younger, I never did. But even the other day when I went into like the city centre in Manchester, like, I got men coming up to me and I was like, oh, like, stop touching me. And I think that's why I wouldn't want to go out on my own now, because it's definitely scared me, and it's easy for stuff to happen to me because I can't really defend myself. So yeah, an assistance dog would be great because I'd have a dog with me, and you know, that is kind of like a protection. I really want a cane corso, which people are going to be like, what the hell? But I would, like, oh my god, my dream is to have like a protection dog. You can always train protection dogs to do the same. I need something like that. So if I leave the house on my own, I'm not going to feel scared, and I can actually do that with a protection dog. You know, a cane corso, a doberman, a big dog that is well trained, but it's there to protect me if I need that, and no one's going to come up to me with, you know, a cane corso or a doberman. No one's going to even come near me because they're going to be like, I'm going to get attacked by this dog. So I guess a protection dog is something that we definitely have spoken about. I would really love to be able to go out and not feel scared and vulnerable. If I had a protection dog, it would change everything, and you know, they would go everywhere with me. Like, Rue is my absolute baby. You know, she's my first dog that I've bought. And she's gorgeous and she's beautiful, but she's as vulnerable as me. Like, she is also a dog that could easily just be stolen. Rue wouldn't protect me for the size of her, and also she's just too nice of a dog. Not only would it help me actually leave the house and not feel scared, but it would just look badass. Have you always been accepting and confident about your condition? Nope. I mean, it's taken me years to even not feel embarrassed about who I am as a person, which sounds actually really sad thinking about it, but for years, even in high school, I just wanted to do everything I could to try and fit in and blend in. I used to feel so embarrassed about the fact that I was in a wheelchair. I was so embarrassed about how I looked. I literally wanted to be invisible in school. I didn't want anyone to see me. I think as well, because you're at that kind of age, a teenager, where how you look is so important. No one would want to hang around with someone like me in a wheelchair. And I get it's more accepted now, and I love that. Like, it's more normalised now than it was back then. Back then, I didn't even have friends because they didn't want to be with me because I was in a wheelchair, which I understand and I get that. But it's not like I couldn't talk. And I think because of high school, that definitely knocked my confidence. And it took years. And I think as well, the more as I've got older and done this job, this is kind of the job that's made me have the most confidence, because I will admit I definitely didn't have any confidence back years ago. And now I'm not bothered. Like, you know, I'm out here doing underwear shoots. Like, that's the level I've gone from. Like, absolutely nothing to now not giving one, and I think that's good. And now, if anything, I like standing out. Like, I mean, it's taken me 23 years to not feel embarrassed about who I am as a person. This confidence is to do with my job. Like, what I'm doing right now is because of it. And take me for who I am. Like, if you don't like me, then leave. You're gonna be the only person who's with yourself forever. So love yourself for who you are and not give a crap. Honestly, that is so true. I can't change what's happened. I actually can't change anything about my disability. It's just what it is. And actually just see that as something, as a positive, not as a negative. I feel like everyone goes through low confidence and stuff, and it is normal whether you're in a wheelchair or not. I got 2 questions that were quite similar actually. One of them was, are you still undiagnosed? And then the other one is, why haven't you gone further with your diagnosis? I obviously am still not diagnosed. There's not one part of me that had any interest about diagnosis. Just never has been. And I know what it was that's caused me to be like this. I was literally born the same size as my brother, except I had a bowel condition. That was literally it. When I was born, I was actually normal size. When my mum noticed it, when I was actually starting school, and she was like, look, she's tiny. Why is she not like the same size as everybody else? And I will admit the hospital kind of just glazed over that and was like, she's fine. She'll catch up to the other kids, and I never did. There actually has been legal action about what has happened to do with my size. I actually feel like it's been dropped now, but I think once you get to a certain age, they drop a case. I'm not going to say no names, but whoever was dealing with my case didn't fight for it enough. I am actually considering talking about it on my channel, just because I know that it's not something that I can get in trouble, because there's nothing happening with it. Like, it's not a legal case anymore. It's been dropped because it's been over that many years that they literally have to drop it after a certain amount of years. It's all a legal mess, I will admit. But I like that about me, I will admit. Like, I love the fact that I'm not like anyone else. Like, there is not a single person in the world like me, and I'm not even kidding. I actually really don't like when people presume that I've got dwarfism, or, you know, I'm a little person. Oh my God, it winds me up because it's like, you don't know me, like you don't know my story. And so putting a label on someone who's short and going, she's got that. Like, my kind of story is very, very, very complicated. My doctors basically just put it down as undiagnosed skeletal dysplasia, which basically means undiagnosed short stature, which I love. If I can, and when I can, I will definitely do a dedicated video on what happened and like kind of the evidence behind it and things like that. 'Cause it has been something that I've really wanted to like openly talk about on my channel, but I'm still too scared to in case anything happened. But I think now I'm allowed, maybe, just because I'm at an age now that they won't fight for it anymore. But yeah, basically that is why I've not got a diagnosis. I don't want one. I'm not the same as everyone else, and I have got that like mystery side to me. Having a diagnosis or being undiagnosed doesn't change anything for me, so yeah, basically I just like the fact that I'm a little bit of a mystery. Do you ever get anxious when you go out to places due to the lack of accessibility? Love you, Queen. I love you too. Weirdly enough, I don't ever worry about going to places and them being not accessible, just because I think it's quite normal for me to go, or if it's not accessible, it's fine, like it's not a biggie. Most places are, you've got to check, but which actually is a bit weird because I don't even think about it. A lot of places are now, and I think they have to be. We always make it work and it's never an issue. Like, we always seem to find a way around it, which is amazing. If we go to places that isn't accessible, I'll just go in my other wheelchair, which is a manual one. And then ever since I went clubbing when I was like 18, 19, and I used to go clubbing quite a lot, it was never an issue. Like, if there was a step, easy, get up it with my manual. And there's always people there to help. Like, there used to be security guards who used to lift my manual wheelchair into a club. Like, there was always a way, and then I'd sit on the table, or like I'd sit on a higher level, and there's always a way around things. And I think if I can go clubbing, then I feel like you can do anything, because clubs are definitely not made for someone like me. It's never been a worry of mine, because no matter what, we always find a way around places. And I'm lucky I have got like an electric wheelchair and a manual that is very lightweight, easy to pick up. I have no issue with someone carrying me into a club, you know what I mean, or into a restaurant that we can't get to but I want to. If we want to do that, we will do it and we'll find a way, and I like that kind of attitude. But honestly, the world is getting so much better and most places are now accessible, which is incredible. What is a common misconception about you as a person living with a disability? This question I really liked, because this is something that I feel like no one would know unless they are with me as in person. The one misconception that I get quite a lot is, say if I'm out, I'll see someone who used to know me years ago and they'll talk to me like I'm a child and not say, you know, what do you do as a job? Are you in a relationship? Kind of thing. Like, these people presume that I don't have a life, so they'll ask my friend, you know, what she does as a job. You know, is she in a relationship? Has she moved out? Them kind of questions. Then they'll go to me and have like quite a short conversation. So they'll just be like, oh, how's your mum? How's your dad? And then, or how's me? And then they won't actually say, so what do you do as a job? They don't see me as a 23-year-old. They'll just see me as someone who doesn't really have a life and ambition. And that makes me so sad, because especially when I've been with people and they get the same question, they literally look at me like I don't have a job, I don't have ambition, I don't have a life, I'm not living life as a 23-year-old, which does bother me so much. They'll literally question why I'm not with my mum. Like, it can get that weird, and I'm like, I don't need to be with my mum at 23 years old. If you ask that to my friend, she'd be like, what the hell, that is such a weird question. But because I'm in a wheelchair, they think, oh, you need your mum, don't you? Or they just presume that I need my mum or someone there. But actually, I can just go out with my mates and whoever, and it's fine, you know what I mean? Even when it comes to paying in shops, I'll pay for certain stuff and they'll actually say that, oh, like, is this your daddy's money, or is this, are you spoiled then? And I'll be buying, obviously I get it, it probably is a bit weird me buying something that is quite expensive, but I've worked hard for my money, and you know, like, I will get questioned and someone will literally laugh and say, is this your mum and dad's money? Is your Christmas money? And it's like, why? You wouldn't say this to my mum. You wouldn't say this to another 23-year-old. So why are you saying this to me? Do you not think I can't work for it? And luckily, my friend will back me up and she'd be like, hey, she's the one treating her mum and dad and family. And like, I love that. But thank God I have a friend like that who backs me up. But yeah, people don't actually believe that I can make money and treat myself and treat other people in a more luxury way. They just kind of pass it off as my mum and dad's money that I'm spending, and actually it's my own money. And that is something that really grinds my gears, because it's sad that we don't see someone like me as successful. We see someone who is, you know, able-bodied as successful, not someone like me in a wheelchair, which is why I love what I do, because I love proving people wrong. And yeah, it makes me laugh inside. I'm like, oh wow, if only you opened your eyes. This is the last one that I'm actually going to end on, and this is, I'm so jealous. How do you find clothes? I'm so short and your style is so like mine. I love this. Oh my god, clothes has been a journey for me. Like, fashion has been one hell of a long journey. I've actually gone from buying kids' clothes for years and years. Children's clothes are not going to fit a woman's body. Children's clothes obviously are small, but they don't actually fit someone who is curvy and got a bit of a woman's body. Like, I've got boobs, I've got curves, I've got thick thighs. Like, I don't have this baby body, so a lot of things didn't fit me. And it took me so long. It's actually trial and error with clothes for me. It definitely took me years to figure out the styles that I could wear and the things that I could adapt to make me kind of fit into things. So like, this item right now, this is a mini dress, but on me it's a really long dress and it's got buttons, so I'll adapt this. I'll actually undo all the buttons at the bottom and it looks like one of them dresses where you've got like your leg poking out. So if a girl is wearing a mini dress, I know that mini dress on me is going to look like a longer dress, but I prefer that anyway. I don't like mini dresses on me. I prefer bodycon long, just because it makes me look longer, looks more, I don't know, I think it looks more classy, and I love that. So basically ordered from different companies the smallest size and basically found my clothes through that. So I ordered from Pretty Little Thing because everyone was talking about it, tried the smallest size, found out that certain tops didn't fit me, like the oversized t-shirts, anything that's like kind of ribbed and tight, that fit me. Mini skirts fit me as longer skirts. Shoes is still a tricky one, I will admit. I think it's just all about going to different brands and ordering, you know, like a little small selection of clothes and then seeing where to go from there. So if the company is very oversized, like I know there's a company which I love, but their clothes are just far too big for me, even the smallest size. So now I don't order from that company, but Pretty Little Thing I know fit me. Motel Vox and things like that. Motel Vox is really good because it is a very, very small size. You actually end up like figuring out which brands are good and which brands aren't necessarily as great for us short girls. If you are similar to me, or you know, you are on the shorter side, then follow girls who are on the shorter side, so you can actually see where they get their clothes from. So you go, oh okay, if that fits her, then that possibly could fit me. So it's all about just trialing different stuff, ordering different stuff. The amount of bags of parcels that come to my house, I'll try on everything in that bag, but I'll only keep about 4 pieces. I just try my best and find different styles of clothes. So I basically just try my best and figure it out myself and kind of mess around with fashion. So, you know, if you're wearing something that's really big, tuck it into your bra, tie it, things like that to make it more cropped. There are people out there who will tailor stuff to you. My nana has done stuff like that. You know, I will admit I've cut pants before and stuff, but I actually don't have anything tailored to me. I feel like, again, that could be for another video. So if you do want to see that, let me know, because I feel like I definitely have a lot of short girl hacks. But that is it for today's video. I do hope you enjoy. I love you guys so much. If you want to see a part 2, then I can definitely do that for you. Let me know. Put your questions in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next